Students, welcome to week 9. I'm going to go over a few things in this overview as far as what's due in week 9 and give you some tips. So let's turn to iLearn. Okay, so we have like kind of 3 major things due this week. The teamwork memo, the bad newsletter, and the resume. So I'm going to go over each one. If you haven't yet, do make sure that you post your Flipgrid video into Flipgrid. All the instructions are here. This is a requirement for the business proposal. It's an individual requirement, so each person in each group needs to post their pitch. So if you haven't done it yet, make sure you do it because it is a requirement to pass that assignment. Once you've done that, go through the Flipgrids and look at other students who aren't on your group, that weren't in your group. You're going to look at their pitches, and then you're going to act like a potential investor who is basically going to give them bad news, and you're going to do your bad newsletter that way. So again, watch some Flipgrid videos, not your teammates, some other group, and then you're going to write a bad newsletter. And again, this is going to be like you are a potential investor. It's going to be less than a page, and you're just going to let them down in a very polite, professional way. And remember, like when you let people down, you want to keep doors open, so you don't want to burn any bridges, because at some point they may come up with an idea that you do want to invest in, right? So this is kind of a practice in how to let people down in a nice professional way. So the directions are all here. You can also read this resource, but I did post an example for you to look at and see what they look like. So here's a example of a bad newsletter. It's not very long. It's very to the point, right? But make sure that you have all the information as far as the date and your information. Again, you don't have to use your actual address. You can make one up. And then address the person that you are speaking to, and then give them sort of a reason, but also like let them know why you're not going to be investing. Okay, and then end on a nice note. And of course, you guys know you can spice this up a little bit, make it a little bit more colorful if you want to, but just keep it professional. Okay, that's the main thing. Okay, so that's that assignment, and that is due Friday before midnight. Okay. And then the other assignment is your teamwork memo. So you're going to be reflecting on your teamwork and how your team worked, and like basically how it went overall. Make sure it's under 2 pages. It can just be 1 page as well. And just, again, make it look like a professional memo. I did give you a template. So that's what this is. This is just the template, and you can fill this out. You can keep all this the way it is, of course, and then obviously you don't want to put your answers underneath this. You want this to look really nice. You want to delete all my instructions after, but that's the template. And then I actually have an example that I posted so you can kind of see how it looks. So yeah, it should look nice and professional. And again, use headers, use bullet points, as much as possible, again, making it look as professional as you can. So those examples are there for you. That's also due Friday before midnight. The other thing that's due is your resume. So there's a few things I want you to do before you do it, but again, try to keep it under a page, keep it professional, keep it basic, simple, right? Using bullet points, lots of white space, using margins, add a header, all that kind of stuff. But before I go into that, there's some resources that you can look at. So there's this on how to write a resume or summary statement. You can review that, but this is really where all the information is. There's the textbook that you can read and look at. But again, just making sure it looks nice. There's an infographic, and I'm going to actually click on it right here. This kind of goes over like what kind of resume you might want to do. And there's really 2 types of resumes. There's chronological. This is if you have a lot of employment history, and then functional. This is really emphasizing skills more than employment history. So most of you might do the functional one because you're students, and I don't know how much experience you have. But, thinking about with your skills, like you can put down class projects, like the business proposal project, like that is a project you could put down in your resume. Anything you've done in a class that involves, multimedia or just like a big presentation, that could be something that you post. Any volunteer work, anything that you're part of as far as like student group, that all can function as, experience. And so anyway, it gives you some pretty basic information about resumes, how to format them, what to highlight. Again, you don't want it too short or too long. And again, like, don't dismiss your soft skills. So things like communication, working in groups, school projects, multimedia, like all that kind of stuff is still like very recognizable in the business world. So anyway, so take a look at this infographic. That is right here if you want to look, or not, sorry, it's right there. There's also examples on different types of resumes, and you can click on this to review them. Actually, let me do that right now. So here's some examples. And again, like notice how simplistic it is. You, of course, can add some color, make it look good. Like I would put color in the headers. That's always nice. And again, like seeing how this is like centered and at the forefront, that's always good. But yeah, so here's some examples that you can look at for resumes. Again, they're pretty simplistic. You want it to be easy to read. You want it to be basically the person can look at it within 3 minutes and be done with it, right? And then there's this really cool course on LinkedIn. If you click here, it'll take you through it. You can't get the whole thing, but you can watch the majority of it. You can also Google lots of them on instructions on how to write a resume. So that's going to be due Friday before midnight as well. Okay. And again, I'm going to give you feedback on it. So don't worry about it being perfect. I just want to see that you've actually put some, some work into it. And then we are going to have an optional Zoom meeting this week on Thursday at 6. So just keep in mind that's all there. Okay. All right. So if you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to send me an email. All right. Bye, guys.